Trying to manage weight can feel like you're fighting a dozen different battles at once. But what if I told you there might be a single master switch controlling the whole thing? Well, it turns out recent science says there is. We're about to dive into a pretty huge discovery, a single enzyme that can literally turn our body's fat production system on or off. Let's get right into it.
So here's the hook. Scientists have pinpointed a single enzyme inside our cells that, when you flip it, can essentially turn our body's fat production and storage systems on or completely off. This is a massive breakthrough in how we understand the basic chemistry of our metabolism.
So what is this mystery enzyme? It's called SCAR2. Now, its full technical name is a real mouthful. Aldo Keto Reductase Family 1 Member A1. So yeah, we're just going to call it SCAR2. Just think of it as the central command center for making fat, storing fat, and even cranking out cholesterol.
Okay, so how on earth does a master switch like this actually work? Let's break down its main job first, and then we'll get into the really clever mechanics behind it all. Imagine our bodies have a natural built-in brake that's always trying to keep fat production under control. Well, the entire job of this SCOR2 enzyme is to just remove that brake. When SCOR2 gets active, it's like taking your foot off the brake and slamming on the gas pedal for making and storing fat. To really get this, the scientists who discovered it came up with this brilliant and simple analogy, and it all comes down to something they call the nitric oxide hat. Let's see how this plays out.
First, we need to talk about a molecule you've probably heard of, nitric oxide, or NO. And no, we're not talking about something that comes out of a tailpipe. Inside our bodies, this is an absolutely critical messenger molecule that helps control our metabolism. In fact, it's the key to this entire system.
Okay, check this out. It's actually a pretty simple four-step dance. Step 1, nitric oxide goes around and puts a tiny chemical hat on key proteins involved in metabolism. That's a process called S-nitrosylation. Step 2, as long as that hat is on, it acts as a brake, telling the cell, hey, stop making fat. But then, step 3, the SCOR2 enzyme shows up, and its only job is to yank that hat right off. That's called denitrosylation. And step 4, the second that hat is gone, the brake is released, and the fat production factory switches on. Simple as that.
All right, quick pause. If you're nerding out on this stuff as much as I am and you're finding this fascinating, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps us keep making more deep dives into the latest science like this. Okay, so if SCOR2 is the thing that turns fat production on, that naturally leads to the million-dollar question, right? What happens if we could flip that switch off for good? I mean, what if you could just stop SARS-CoV-2 from ever taking that hat off in the first place? If you could block this one enzyme, what would that actually do to the body? Well, that's exactly what the researchers wanted to find out.
And the results, honestly, they were absolutely wild. They took mice and put them on a high-fat diet. The group with normal active SCOR2, they gained a lot of weight and developed fatty liver disease, exactly as you'd expect. But, and this is the amazing part, the mice where SCOR2 was blocked were completely protected from obesity. Their liver stayed healthy, and their metabolism actually shifted to burning fat instead of storing it.
And this is what makes it so incredibly powerful. It creates this two-pronged attack on fat. See, in our fat cells, blocking SCOR2 keeps that hat on, which shuts down the master genetic switches that scream, store more fat. At the very same time, over in the liver, it keeps the hat on the actual fat-making enzymes, slowing down production and telling the liver to burn fat for energy instead. This effect in two different organs at once is what makes this discovery so exciting. It's not just about weight. We're talking about the potential to basically hit the reset button on our entire metabolic health. Just take a look at this. By hitting this one single target, this one enzyme, the researchers saw this incredible 3-in-1 benefit. It prevents weight gain from a bad diet, it protects the liver from getting fatty, and it even lowers levels of bad cholesterol. It's a single key that could unlock solutions for 3 of the biggest metabolic problems we face. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's great for mice, but what about us? Well, this is where it gets really compelling. The researchers found a really strong and direct link to human health. They basically found 3 key pieces of the puzzle that connect all this to people. First, there's a genetic variation that's already known to be linked to obesity in humans, and it turns out it causes the body to make more SCAR2. Second, when they looked at actual tissue from patients, the more SCAR2 a person had, the bigger their fat cells were. And third, higher SCAR2 levels were also found in people with more severe fatty liver disease. That pretty much cements this enzyme as a major player in human metabolism.
And get this isn't some far-off, futuristic idea. The team is already working on a new class of drugs designed to target this very enzyme. And they think they could be ready for clinical trials in as little as 18 months.
So in the end, this isn't just about finding another target for a new pill. What this research gives us is a whole new blueprint. It's a new way to understand and maybe, just maybe, treat metabolic diseases not by chasing symptoms, but by going straight to the fundamental biochemical switch at the very root of the problem.